So Game of Thrones had its series finale last night. This was a very anticipated final season for Game of Thrones. It is a season that has left many fans really divided, and some of them trying to start an online petition to remake Season 8. That internet ridiculousness, nonsense like that. Same thing with The Last Jedi. I'm going to try and do my best not to call out the fan base in this video and give you an actual review of Season 8 of Game of Thrones, because I feel as if I'm one of the few that actually likes Season 8. I thought Season 8 was pretty good. I didn't think that this was the best season. I wanted it to be the best season because it was the final season of Game of Thrones, but I don't think it was ever going to be the best season, and I just think people's expectations were subverted. And I think that because it's now beyond the books, that because some certain fan theories aren't playing out the way people anticipated them to, fans are just kind of in a tizzy and really upset. I will say this, since the series has gone past the books, the writing hasn't been as good as it was in like Season 4. I thought 5 was a little bit of a weak season. Violence-wise, it was pretty violent, but story-wise, I was just like, Season 5 just felt like a throwaway season. 6, however, was really good. I did enjoy 7, and as I said, I'm one of those people that really liked Season 8. There's definitely some problems that I have with Season 8, some major problems, but I mean, I can overlook some of that stuff. And for me, it really doesn't seem like all of this divisiveness really came in until about halfway through the season. Once we got to Episode 4, which was the last of the Starks, that's where everything kind of seemed to blow up in the fan base, especially in regards to that Starbucks coffee cup that was spotted in the episode. And I think that whole thing just got blown way out of proportion, because then people were complaining that King's Landing is no longer on the sea, it's in the middle of a desert, when in reality it's still on the sea, and that's a beach, it's on both land and sea. I don't understand stuff like that I don't feel are valid criticisms of the show in this season, and there's criticisms of certain characters being out of character, like Daenerys Targaryen, for instance. Her character arc in Season 8 is something I really enjoyed. I think it's something that the show is definitely building towards. Whether or not it feels rushed, that's a whole nother situation. I will say I understand where you're coming from if you think that whole Mad Queen storyline is rushed. But I don't see where you're coming from if you say that it's out of character for Daenerys Targaryen. Yeah, maybe a bit rushed, because this season, arguably, could have been at least 8 episodes. I think it should have been 8. I think both 7 and 8 probably should have been 8 episodes. Yeah, I think you should have 1 more in 7, 2 more here, to thoroughly wrap up this entire thing. But I mean, I saw that coming. For me, why I don't think that Daenerys Targaryen was out of character in the moment where she's burning every civilian in King's Landing is because, I mean, this whole event has been foreshadowed. Her character throughout the entire show has been building to being the Mad Queen, whether or not it was explicitly said, or just hinted at, or foreshadowed at. I think people are really forgetting that even though we didn't see a lot of Daenerys Targaryen being the Mad Queen, and a lot of events leading up to that, leading to this moment that we didn't necessarily see, I understand in Season 8, I think it was done very well. I understand where she's coming from. Everybody's questioning her. Sansa's questioning her. Jon told her his true heritage. She's the rightful heir to the Iron Throne until Jon comes along. She witnesses the death of Missandei. She just sees that the Lannisters have complete control over King's Landing, and she just burns the entire city to the ground. I think it's a completely viable option for her. Again, though, for a lot of fans, for a lot of fans who say it's rushed, I'm not going to disagree with you. I can definitely see how aspects of it are rushed, but I am totally on board with her burning King's Landing, because I think a lot of people forget she burned the Tarleys. Like, I feel like that's just a forgotten event, and this whole thing was foreshadowed in Bran the Three-Eyed Raven's vision. Like, he literally saw Drogon flying over King's Landing in season 6. And then there was that whole vision that Daenerys had. I think it was way back in like season 2 or something, where she had this vision and she was walking through what looked like snow, and we now know that it was ash. So this event, there's definitely other instances where Daenerys becoming the Mad Queen is hinted at, and I think that they hit it on the nose really well, especially within the season, with all the stuff that she was witnessing this season, everybody questioning her, Jon's true heritage, what she saw, the fact that she went into the Red Keep and was like, that's the land my ancestors built, like, that's completely mine. So I'm behind all that. I completely understand that. I don't understand how people don't think that makes sense, but that's just me. I think it completely makes sense. What I also think completely makes sense is Bran becoming the King of Westeros. Okay, now, before you jump down my throat and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's the worst character. Yes, I agree. Bran Stark is definitely the worst character on the entire show. But if he can see visions of the past and the present, and potentially the future, wouldn't you want somebody like that to be a king? Wouldn't you? Because you would be able to avoid conflict. You'd be able to know what threats are coming. I think that makes sense, but yeah, I definitely agree that Bran is the worst character on the TV show. But making him king over Sansa, Arya, Jon, I think it makes complete sense, because Jon Snow never wanted the throne. Sansa's basically the new Littlefinger. She becomes Queen of the North, which I think was fantastic. And then Arya is like, I can never picture Arya on the throne, you know? I never picture her being the leader of Westeros, and I like that they kind of set her up to go do her own thing. And I hope that that becomes a spin-off. I want to see an Arya spin-off where she just sails the ocean blue, becomes like the new Christopher Columbus, although not as horrible as a human being as Christopher Columbus. So, I mean, I think that would be a really good idea for a spin-off. I like where the characters ended up. And I like the fact that we could have potential spin-offs here. Yes, Bran is the worst character. He's the most useless character. I get it. Like, people are losing their shit because for the entire runtime of the show, he was taking a nap in a wheelchair, and now he's the King of Westeros. But again, I think it makes complete sense. If he can see the past and the present and potentially the future, he's going to know what's coming. Everybody's going to be prepared. So, I think he's worthy of it. I mean, definitely not my choice. I'm not going to say who my choice is. If you think about the grand scheme of things, the big picture, it makes complete sense. The first 2 episodes of this season 2 were just fantastic. I know a lot of people said episode 2 is a bit boring. I think that was at Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but that was a very important episode. That was really the last time that these characters really get to interact with each other before all the crazy stuff goes down. And I gotta hand it to them, that battle in Winterfell was actually really well done. Despite some people complaining they weren't able to see a thing, the cinematography I thought was really good in that. It's gonna look better on the DVD and Blu-ray, I think. I understand where people are coming from, where it's like, I can't see anything. A, just turn on a light. B, I mean, I didn't have any trouble. Like, I didn't think of that. My issue with that episode wasn't the fact that it was too dark. It was the way the Night King was handled. I never really expected the Night King to be some grand virtuoso villain. I always knew that he was kind of like this side villain that everybody was going to have to fight and was going to get taken care of at one point or another on the show. So it doesn't really bother me that he was never the main villain. And it doesn't bother me that Cersei actually didn't end up being the main villain. I thought it was really clever that they made Dany the main villain. But my whole thing with the Night King is I just thought he went out too easy. I just wanted him to put up a fight, but that scene is fantastic, where all the White Walkers like step aside, and he's just walking through, he's going to Bran, and it's just that creepy, ominous music playing, and it literally gave me the chills. I was like, this is literally some creepy-ass shit right now. And I love that. I love that it was Arya that took him out. I just wish he put up more of a fight, and that's one of my big issues with this season. It feels like it does at times. It does feel rushed, and I think the whole Night King thing was rushed. I mean, the White Walkers can shoot icicles. Arya takes him out just like that. He went out like a little bitch. He got baned. That's what I'm gonna say. But I mean, that scene leading up to that, though, fantastic. I thought the battle was also fantastic. I could see during the battle. Okay, so I just don't really understand why people are nitpicking this little thing. I get it. It's not meeting your expectations. It's not meeting what you think is going to happen. It's not meeting your fan theories. I like that they're subverting fan theories. But I don't think they're really doing it on purpose. Maybe the Bran becoming king thing, maybe that was on purpose. I don't know. But they wouldn't be doing any of this without the approval of George R.R. Martin. And I feel like that this is where he's going to go when A Dream of Spring finally comes out, if it ever comes out. If Daenerys doesn't end up as the Mad Queen, burning down the Red Keep, Bran doesn't end up as the King of Westeros at the end of that book, I really don't see the point. Because somebody brought up a really good point online as to the fact that the first chapter in the very first book is from Bran's point of view. So that's probably what George R.R. Martin had in mind, that Bran was the key to all of this. So I really like that they kind of came full circle with that. And if that's not what George R.R. Martin has planned, which I think it is, because he said the book isn't going to be that different from what was portrayed in that final season, and he gave the writers the outline as to where the ending of the book series was going to end, so they just had to connect the dots. Whether or not you think they did a good job of connecting the dots, if it was rushed, completely up to you, but I think everything that we have seen makes sense, with the exception of a few things. There's a few things I didn't like in Season 8. I already mentioned one of them. I thought the Night King got taken out too quick. He went out like a little bitch. He got baned. I thought that was rushed, despite a really good battle and a really good scene. My other thing is the way Jaime and Cersei died. Yeah, I knew they were going to die together, or I knew that the other one was going to kill the other one, or they were going to kill each other or something. I liked the fact that Jaime went back to Cersei. I think that was always his destiny. At first, I really did not read into that scene when he leaves Brienne. She starts crying, which I don't see why people have a problem with Brienne of Tarth crying. She's not breaking character. She's showing human emotion here. So I read too far into that and was completely wrong. I was like, nope, he's just saying that to her to go back and kill Cersei. That wasn't the case. He went back to be with Cersei. But I do like the fact that his and Cersei's storyline, their arcs together, came full circle. I like the fact that they died together. What I don't like about that is how they died. I think they kind of got banned too. They just get crushed in the rubble of King's Landing. Like, what? Ugh. Like, I think that could have been better. I just expected something better. It just, to me, it just felt like an anticlimactic thing. Like, okay, let's just get Cersei out of here so that we can make Dany the main villain. That's what I felt that was. It was just too anticlimactic. I wanted something better. But I do like how their story came full circle and how they did die together. Just die in a different way. And Jaime killing Euron Greyjoy. I mean, whatever, I guess. It was a good fight, but, like, was that really necessary? Like, ugh. Another huge issue I have is the character of Grey Worm. I hate Grey Worm. I've hated him since he came into the show. I hated him since he's tried to bang Missandei. I hate this guy. It's just the character itself. Like, he's never been that good of a character. So every time I just see him looking back at Jon and be like, yeah, you piece of shit, I was like, yeah, shut up, Grey Worm. You're a piece of shit. Grey Worm was just, I wish Grey Worm died. That dude deserves to get ganked. It seemed like they tried too hard to make him have emotion when Missandei died, which, of course, I get it. It was his girlfriend. But, like, do we really have to cut back and forth so much to Grey Worm after that?
just, like, who cares about Grey Worm? Like, I don't care about Grey Worm. All in all, though, I think Season 8 is definitely good. I wouldn't necessarily say it's strong, but I'm far from saying that it's on the weak side. I think Season 8 is basically middle-of-the-pack Game of Thrones. I have 3 seasons ranked above it. Number 1 is Season 4. Number 2, Season 6. Number 3, Season 3. And then it's Season 8. This is far from the worst season I have seen, because here's my thing. The worst episodes of Game of Thrones are still better than the best episodes of The Walking Dead. I've seen way worse TV than I have with this season of Game of Thrones, particularly with the last half of Season 8, where everybody just started complaining about everything. I do think fans are blowing this out of proportion. I feel like nobody's really using their heads as to why they feel like this doesn't make any sense. Everybody's just saying random ass shit that to me doesn't make sense. But I think if you really, really think about it in the grand scheme of things, everything makes sense. Everything comes full circle. But that's just me. And I just feel fans are a bit misguided. But I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, what the fuck, you stupid fans. I mean, I've done that already, and wasn't too proud of myself. But, I mean, overall, I enjoyed Season 8. It's not the best season of Game of Thrones, and I don't think it was ever destined to be. So, before I go, here's my ranking. As I said, I've already ranked some of the seasons. Here's the rest of them. This is where every season of Game of Thrones falls. And I'm really curious to see what your favorite seasons of Game of Thrones are, what your least favorite seasons of Game of Thrones are, what your favorite season or least favorite season. No. So I'm very curious. Drop me a comment in the comment section below. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews soon. I should be seeing Godzilla King of the Monsters on Wednesday. Hopefully I'll have an early review up for you for that. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.